Hi everyone, today I'll be taking a look at the 1/7 scale figure of Murasame from Senren Banka, which is a game byゆずソフト. Senren Banka was released byゆずソフトin 2016, and this figure itself was released in 2019. This is the Ami exclusive version that comes with a bonus faceplate. At the top of the box we have the broccoli logo, and all over the box there is this nice, very wafu styled pattern. On the front of the box it says 1/7 scale figure Murasame and has the Senren Banka logo in the corner, along with a photo of Murasame herself. And there is also a sticker that says Ami Gente Ban Egao Face Batsutsuki. Both sides of the box also have photos of the figure herself, and on the back of the box we are greeted with the original illustration that Komowata Haruka sensei drew as the pose design for this figure. There's the actual artwork of that there, with the figure next to it, and it says Komowata Haruka sensei ni yoru pose design wo rittaika. So they have recreated that pose from Komowata Haruka sensei's artwork. At the bottom we have the sculptor, which is Yugon, and also the color producer, which is Hoshina Emi, and then the pose design, which is of course Komowata Haruka, who pretty much does all of theゆずソフトfigure pose designs, since of course they are such a prominent figure within theゆずソフトbrand. Here we have Murasame in all of her packaging. As you can see, she comes with the extra faceplate there on the right, and her body is detachable since she is a cast off as well. We have Murasame herself, this is just her upper half. We have her lower half, and the skirt is detachable as well. We have another obi, which I believe is for when you're casting her off. We have her sword, and also the Ami exclusive bonus faceplate. Her base matches her character perfectly with the round shoji window. The ribbon at the back of her obi is actually separate and attached to the base itself, and then the actual base is of tatami mats, which again is very fitting for her character. To attach her torso there is a peg and also the ribbon pegs at the back. It's a little bit awkward to get to, so it's best to remove her head and then attach it. And here is Murasame put onto the base. At this point the only thing needed to be added is the sword. I must admit she was a pain to put together. I bought her pre-owned and she did not come with the instructions, which would have been very helpful. I did look them up through a live door blog. I can leave that in the description if anyone needs it. They did add a picture of the instructions. 5 of her hair strands are supposed to fit into this gap here. The rest are at the back, and then you've got these ones here at the front. Without really knowing that, it can be quite hard to put her together, so it would have been good if she came with her instructions, which she is supposed to, but my one didn't. The nice thing as well is that there is a few cast off options with this one. So you can cast her off completely, or you can just cast off the skirt and have this part still covering her underwear, which I thought was really nice. Or you can just cast off both of these parts if you'd like. The extra obi is for when you're casting off all of her clothes, but you can just cast off either one or both of the parts at the bottom there. The sword just attaches onto the small hole located on her right arm. And here is Murasame completed with her sword. Like I mentioned earlier, this figure is made by Broccoli, and they do have very nice quality on their figures. They're particularly well known for theirゆずソフトfigures, which at the moment actually have been mostly passed over to Alice Glint, who are a company that are very friendly with them. But they still do make, they still will be making a small amount ofゆずソフトfigures as far as I'm aware. Taking a closer look at Murasame's face, as per usual with Broccoli'sゆずソフトfigures, the original illustration, in this case Muririn's character design, has been replicated very well. The eyes are pretty much just decals that are exact replicas of Muririn's art style. The nice thing with Murasame, of course, is her bright, vibrant hair, which I thought was really nice to see in figure form. And also her various hair ornaments and ribbons as well really stand out against the colour. It is quite an unusual hair colour, especially to see on figures, so it's very nice that Murasame did get a figure, since not all of the Senren Banka girls have had a figure yet. The main reason why I picked her up all this time later is because Yoshino does have a figure coming out, and I would very much like to display them together. Murasame and Yoshino are my 2 favourite Senren Banka characters, You can see the butterfly clip on the side has been painted with slightly metallic paint, so that stands out against her hair, and also the texture of the ribbons as well. The ribbons are very bendy, so I would recommend being careful just in case one of them snaps. Murasame has one of my favourite hairstyles when it comes to character design, which is long hair with the two twin tails at the top. Muriri in particular does a really good job of colour schemes. Seeing Broccoli really bring all of these colours to life as a figure is really nice to see. She has a very straight fringe at the front. This is something thatゆずsoft in particular do quite often, and the way it frames her face looks incredibly nice, and nothing's really clumped together that much. Everything's quite separate, which makes it look very nice in terms of the way it flows. The colour in particular I really like. The base colour is more of a yellow green that Broccoli have then shaded with a more blue hue, which looks really good. It's really bright and vibrant, and it's a hair colour that's quite unusual, which again looks really good on a figure. Her clothes also have been sculpted and painted very nicely. These are cast off as well, so considering that these can be cast on and off, they are sculpted very well, and there aren't really any major seam lines or anything like that. The nice thing with Murasame is again that she has multiple cast off options. I liked her design in the first place, that you can see her shoulders and that these sleeves are off shoulder. The obi as well, this has the exact same texture as the ribbon at the back. Also at the top here, this is also lined with a pattern, which is very nice. This also continues inside the sleeve as well. And the sculpting for the skirt underneath, so you can remove either the top layer of her actual outfit or the skirt, or both, depending on what you like. And the ribbon that is attached to the back of her obi and also acts as the main peg to hold up the figure. This again has that nice texture and also very nice shading as well. I really like how they designed this figure, since obviously she is leaning a lot, so they can't use regular pegs to hold up this figure. I really like the way that obviously this was originally Muririn's design, so it is thanks to Muririn that we have this design, but the way that they incorporated that into a figure, and that the ribbon comes out so nicely at the back and then doesn't cover up the screen at the back too much either. It makes the figure look very finished in a way. Again, the pop of colour is very nice against her hair. Everything about her design in the first place was really well put together. Moving down, you can see that she has sandals that are strapped all the way up to her legs, which again are very fitting with her outfit. And as for her sword, this is also incredibly detailed. Even just the gold part has a lot of engraving on there, along with the handle and even the actual blade too. These are all very accurate to the actual illustration. There's a nice few touches of gold with this figure, with her hairpiece along with the obi and also the sword as well. I have partially casted her off, so you can of course take the outer layer of fabric off as well. It's nice that you can partially see the underwear, but then she still has the actual layers of her kimono on as well, so that it's partially covered at the same time. Broccoli are quite well known for their cast offゆずsoft figures. They are incredibly well made. The clothes are all really nicely made. There's no ridiculous seam lines anywhere or anything that looks off just because it's been made as a cast off figure, so I really like the fact that there are multiple options here and you don't have to necessarily go with what was on Komowata Haruka Sensei's illustration. And finally, this is the extra faceplate from Ami. This is her smiling faceplate. This is a very nice bonus, and this is something that Ami does with pretty much everyゆずsoft figure, including the new ones from Alice Glint. They always provide some kind of extra faceplate, and usually it tends to be one like this where they're smiling. My only issues with this figure is the fact that she is so difficult to put together. It does take quite a while to deassemble and then reassemble her every time you want to do something. Like changing the faceplate, for example, I mean the whole head, hair, everything has to come off, and it's likely that something else will fall off in that process. I recently bought the Alice Glint's Shikibe Mayu from Riddle Joker, and she was so easy to put together, so I'm not sure if it's just the difference between Broccoli and Alice Glint, or if this is something that was just for this figure, since I know that she's a little bit more awkward with the pose and the parts that she has. I'm not too sure. I'd be interested to see if other people have this problem where she's a little bit stiff and very difficult to put together or change the faceplate and things like that. But this is the faceplate and it is very cute, so I'm very glad that I was able to get the Ami Ami edition all this time later. Overall, that concludes my review on Broccoli's Murasame 1/7 scale figure. I'm very pleased that I was finally able to get the Ami Ami exclusive version of this figure and that I have her so that once Yoshino comes out I'll be able to display them together. Seeing that Alice Glint are actually going back and making older Yu Zu Soft game characters into figures, such as Sana from Tenshin Nanman, it would be really nice to see them make the final heroine that does not have a figure from Senren Banka, which is of course Rena. Regardless, even if they don't make Rena, it will look really nice to have Mako, Murasame and Yoshino together since they all have quite traditional designs. If you like Senren Banka and you didn't pick this figure up when it first came out like I did, she does sometimes pop up on secondhand sites such as Surugaya, so I recommend checking those. I didn't pay any more than what she originally costed, so I don't think that her price is too bad these days. I have seen on various places that she costs quite a bit more for some reason, but I bought her very recently and only paid the amount that she actually was at release, so I definitely recommend waiting for her to appear on sites such as Surugaya. She does tend to appear every so often. But thank you very much for watching until the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!